Hello, today I'm going to be showing you from scratch how to create an Ethereum wallet address using Web3 library and use an Infura API call to be our window into the Ethereum blockchain. Then we will take this data and parse it to the MongoDB. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to begin by creating my directory. I'm going to cd into the directory. Next, I'm going to run npm init. I'm only going to change one thing, index.js to app.js. Great. Next, we're going to add our files. Lastly, in our Ethereum controller, alright, I'm going to go ahead and run atom and then install our npm packages. npm I -- save. It's going to be Web3 Express body parser and Mongoose. That's all we need. That's going to take a bit, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Run atom. We're going to begin with app.js. Alright. Going to require in express body parser app.use body parser basic logic for using body parser in your project. This will be the port we'll be working out of. Alrighty, now we're going to acquire in Mongoose. That's our schema file right there, where we'll be pulling the schema from. And then basic Mongoose logic. If you're unaware of the logic, I highly advise checking out the docs on the Mongoose. Helps a lot. Count is part of the path where we'll be making our call. This right here isn't necessary. However, if you don't include this in your terminal, it will throw this depreciation value, and adding this to this will help clean up the terminal, so to give you pure data without the error depreciation and stuff. So throw the error if the connection was unsuccessful. Helps a lot if you add these into your code. So when it breaks, it'll at least point you in the direction that, hey, this did not do what it was meant to do. Alright, and our app.listen tells the app where to look. You can put anything here. I like to be clear with which console.log this is, and it pays off in the long run. This will find the database, and if not, it will return no database. Alright, from what I can see here, everything looks pretty good. We're going to move on to the next one. We'll start with the account controller. I'm going to require in Mongoose. Account. This is the model schema we'll be using. It'll be under account. Our controller. This is from the JS file. Next we're going to export new account, which will be our call for generating this account. We're going to make it an async function. Very important. You go with an async. Declare the database, data, new account. Here's part of our schema setup. This is where it will present the data when we make the call through the Infura API with our Web3 JS library. Alright. Ethereum controller. Important that you get your underscores correct. This will generate a new wallet address. DB response, looking good. If I include our if statement, in case of an error or an issue. Looks good. Alright, next we'll do the model, which the model is going to be our schema setup. It's going to take the data and record it over to the MongoDB. Of course, you can be creative with what you want recorded. There are many variables and options to select on what data you specifically want. Good example would be the Infura tutorial I use for recording block header data, because a block header has a lot of different bits of different pieces of header data. Alright, so schema. Next, we're going to export this to be used in the rest of the app. Oh, glad I caught that. Our account schema set up lastly. Okay, looks pretty good. Alright, next we will do the route, which isn't much here. And the only reason we have so many different files for such a small project is to help thin it out, simplify it, not look so cluttered and just full of things everywhere. Which of course you can do all this in 1 or 2 files, but it's just much easier to present and look at when you have it spread out. This will be the call for posting the new wallet address and requesting that data, or the route. Last thing, export it for the rest of the app. Alright, let me just look over all this. Alright, now our Ethereum controller. This is where we're going to implement Web3, the API call through Infura, and where a lot of the magic happens, specifically on the blockchain side of things. Alright, so this right here, this library is included when you install Web3, and it's used primarily for Web3 related wallet addresses and accounts, etc. And if you've ever installed Web3 and gone into your node modules, you'll see that Web3 installs a lot of things, but all of them are useful in their own given scenarios, situations. $30.30, good, looking good, looking good. All right, here's the Web3 API call right here. Makes you put Web3 a lot. But this is pulled from the Web3 documentation, I believe. Here's our Infura API call to the RinkyB network. I'm choosing RinkyB just primarily for demonstration purposes. You can use this with, mainnet or your choice of the other networks. Alright, now the magic happens. This is when we request that new address route. Async function. Here's our Web3 call. Make sure you include await so it gives the code time, access the data it needs. Once again, this bit of code right here was pulled straight from the Web3 documentation. Can indent properly, cleans up the code very well, makes it easier to view and look at. Very important that you do console.table F data. Table is an important format. It'll display in a very nice looking way in the terminal. Okay, looking good. I'm gonna indent this one over. This is where our catch is gonna be for any errors. Gonna catch the error, hopefully display it, give you some input on where your trouble is coming from. Alright, don't see anything obvious as far as an error, but we will find out. Okay. Yep, looks good. I'm going to, in my second terminal over here, our package is installed. My second terminal, I'm going to cd into my MongoDB folder, and then you got to cd into the bin. Then you can run the Mongo code, which will start up the local database. Alright, good. Well, that's running. Here's all of our installed things. Let's fire this up and see what happens. Node app.js. Oh, yep, there's my first spelling mistake. Try that again. Oop. Schema is not defined. Oop, yep, misspelled it again. Count model. Yep, that's what I get for Russian. Alright, try this again. Require, yep. Oh, terrible. Clear that up out the way. Oh, yep, forgot the S right there. Man. Goodness. Let's try this again. Alright, there we go. Register with the database. That looks good. Alright, so I'm going to fire up my Postman for this since we're on the 3030 port. Going to do localhost account, new account, and it's a post method. We're going to hit send. Alright, got it. First error. So error event DB response. Whoops, I misspelled that one too. Count controller JS. This is why you had all of your errors in here. Right here. Here's where I messed up. All these console.logs and these error catches. Oh man, they pay off. Going to refire that back up. Same params. Send, and here we have it. Here's our ID from the MongoDB. Here's the Ethereum Wallet Address. And in your console.log terminal window, this is how it displays the table right here. It displays it nice, clear, and simple. It will include your private key, but this is strictly from demonstration purposes on the Rinkeby testnet. So be sure to never give out your private key or use this account because it's just for demonstration purposes. So next we're going to then verify on the using Robo T3 UI interface for MongoDB. Go right here to account, collections, accounts. We're going to verify. Here's the ID and the Ethereum account number. See if I can set this to where we can check it. Alright, 0x687b1, and then the last right there, D6. Yep, that's it. The first one is from when we made our call, but we got the error message displayed from me misspelling that one thing. But there you have it. This is how you generate an Ethereum wallet address, return the data, and then parse it over to your MongoDB database. I hope that you find this useful. With this kind of concept, you can apply it to many other things, especially involving Ethereum, decentralized, and centralized. please give us a like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot.